Hello everyone, welcome back to IELTS Monkey. My name is Teacher Patrick, and today we're going to talk all about task achievement, one of the band descriptors, the first band descriptor on the IELTS Writing Task 2. And it's one of the band descriptors that gives my students the most difficulties, or at least the most confusion. And even if you go onto the British Council website or the IDP website, or you take a look at the band descriptors, even there it's not very clear exactly what they want you to do. And because of this, it's really easy for really good writers to get a low score in task achievement. I've seen writers get 7, 7, 7, 8, 8, 8 in vocabulary and grammar and coherence and cohesion, and then they get like a 4 or a 5 in task achievement, and it completely ruins their score. So today, hopefully, after today's lesson, you'll feel a little bit more confident and a little bit less confused about what you need to do in order to get a high score on task achievement. So let's jump right into it. What are we doing today? So today we are going to define task achievement. We're going to take a look at exactly what task achievement is and how the definitions differ between the different band scores. We're going to start with band score 4 as a baseline. I know no one's going for a band score 4, but it gives us a good idea of how we build up to a 7, 8, and 9 in task achievement. Then at the end, we'll take a look at some sample paragraphs so you can kind of see exactly what the differences may look like between the different scores. So first of all, what is task achievement? Basically, answering the question, right? Everyone kind of knows this part. We need to answer the question. It's a little bit more complicated than that, though. It's not just answering the question. It's answering the question, providing reasons for why you believe the way you do, supporting and justifying and providing examples regarding those reasons that help you support your position as much as possible, and also making sure that your supporting ideas and examples are relevant to the topic. They stay on topic. So the first question you should always ask yourself when writing your essay and trying to decide if you have a good level of task achievement is, have I fully addressed every part of the question? If it's a discuss both views and give your opinion, have you discussed both views and given your opinion? Or have you maybe just discussed one side? Or have you forgotten to give your opinion? Okay? Are your arguments, are your ideas, are they relevant? Are they on topic? Or do you kind of state your position, but then your supports, it doesn't really actually support your position. It kind of talks about something different. You kind of get sidetracked, which is easy to do even if you're not writing an essay and even if you're a native speaker, right? And then do you stay on topic throughout your essay? Do you kind of make sure that in your introduction and your body and your conclusion, you stay clear and consistent? You don't change half the way through. This happens sometimes, right? It could be an opinion essay. And well, one mistake is it's an opinion essay and you agree, and then I see a lot of students accidentally spend most of their time talking about reasons why they would actually disagree, even though they said they agreed in their thesis statement. Or do you give your opinion and then you kind of support it, and then halfway through your essay you change that opinion? This happens a lot too. Now, a lot of this has to do with your plan. If you don't plan your essay, you are setting yourself up for failure. Now, it may seem counterintuitive or the opposite of what you think would happen, but if you plan your essays, you will write for less time. People who don't plan their essays, who start writing as soon as the bell rings, as soon as the time starts, I guarantee you these people are still writing by the time they hit 40 minutes, right? If you plan your essay, my guess is you plan for 5 or 10 minutes, you're only going to write for 25 minutes or so, leaving you enough time to go back and review and make sure that you have done these things to get a higher score in task achievement. Simple as that. Think about it like a piece of IKEA furniture. IKEA is a very well-known store where you go and buy your furniture, but you put it together by yourself at home. Now, the nice thing about IKEA furniture is it's cheap. But because it's cheap, it means you have to put it together. But when you get it home, you get a set of instructions that show you how to do this. And this helps you do it in less time, more efficiently. Now imagine you don't have this set of instructions. For example, I live here in Dalat, and whenever I order a piece of furniture, like a bookshelf or a shoe rack or something off of Lazada or Shopee, I don't receive any instructions. And I have to sit there for much longer than I want to, trying to figure out how to put this together, looking at the picture, tilting the phone, trying to understand. But if I had a plan, if I had a set of instructions, oh, it would be so much easier. So always plan your essays, practice planning your essays. Like practice this. Not just I'm going to plan an essay every time I do a writing task 2. Like I'm going to sit here and practice planning 5 essays a day for a week until I'm confident in my ability to plan. Finally, your main ideas in their development. Do you have one main idea per paragraph? If you look at the British Council website, they actually advise this as well. Now, I put maximum 2 because sometimes it can't be avoided, right? But even if it's like, what are the problems and the solution? If you have 2 problems, have 2 paragraphs, 1 for each problem, and then 1 paragraph for your solution. What are the reasons why this happens? And is this a good or a bad thing? If you have multiple reasons, 1 reason for each paragraph, and then a paragraph talking about whether it's a good or a bad thing. The idea here is if you have one main idea, you can make sure that you fully develop this idea. You don't get sidetracked. You don't shortchange yourself or run into the risk of not giving enough details and support that will keep you out of a 7. We'll talk about that, right? In a band score 6, you give clear reasons, but you just don't give anything else. And that is what happens when you have too many main ideas. If you have too many main ideas, you're getting closer to a 6 than you are to a 7 because you're not giving yourself enough space to actually develop them, to support them, to provide examples that are relevant and related to these ideas. So they should be specific and relevant, not too personal. Again, don't make up any fake statistics either. We don't need to make anything up. But if they're too general, we can't get higher than a 7. We'll talk about this in a little bit. But just, use what you know. Use your experience. This is kind of a part 3 trick that I use for speaking. But I always tell my students in part 3, who they have difficulty with the logic and understanding how to answer these questions, is to make it true for you first and then make it true for everybody else. Look inside your own personal experience. And whatever you can find, you can make an example out of that. So if you have a brother who has had some experience and this is the way that it played out and you would love to use this as a support, then use this idea as an idea for the general population, right? We can talk more about that as we get into part 3 speaking. I'll make a video on that at some point. But just keep in mind that you want these ideas and these supports and these examples to be relevant and specific enough and related to the topic that you're talking about. Okay, so let's get into what are the differences between the band descriptors. So band score 4. In a band score 4, the candidate just either doesn't understand the question or they understood it, but they, for some reason, got confused and they ended up writing a different answer to a different question. It happens more often than you think. For example, maybe they have a problem-solution essay and for some reason they turn it into a cause and effect. This happens, right? Problem-solution, cause and effect, they're kind of similar a little bit, and this will result in a 4. Or maybe you need to identify whether something is a positive or a negative trend, and for some reason you turn it into an opinion essay, like, I agree that there are advantages and disadvantages, or you turn it into an advantages, disadvantages essay. Again, you're answering a different question, and therefore you're going to get a 4. So as I said earlier, you could write a beautiful essay, really well organized, logical ideas for whatever topic you're discussing. It's obviously not the one you should be discussing. And great grammar and everything, vocab, all of that's good. But then you end up getting a 4 because you didn't answer the question, and it brings your score down. So let's move on. let's take a look. We're going to start showing some of the band descriptors now. Let's take a look at band score 5. So in a band score 5, the main parts of the prompt are incompletely addressed. You don't answer all of the question. The writer expresses a position, but the development is not always clear. Some main ideas are there, but you don't develop them at all. And of course, we probably repeat a lot of our ideas. So what does this actually mean? So this means if you only answer half the question, or you don't completely address all parts of the prompt, you're not going to get higher than a 5. A good example of this would be a discuss both views and give your opinion. Discuss both views. There's 3 things you need to do here. Discuss one side objectively, discuss the other side objectively, and give your opinion. If you don't do all 3 of those things, you cannot get higher than a 6. You cannot get higher than a 5. If you just discuss one side and give your opinion, a 5. Okay? Also, you could give a relevant position in your thesis statement. If it's like an agree, disagree essay, and you clearly state in your introduction that you agree, but then in the rest of your essay you don't actually support that, you don't actually provide any reasons why you agree, you just kind of talk off topic, that's going to be a 5, potentially a 4, depending on the severity, but no higher than a 5, that's for sure. Okay? Now, at the minimum, make sure you're answering the correct question, and make sure you answer all parts of the question, and you can get higher than a 5 as long as you give some reasons, which leads us to band score 6. The main parts of the prompt are addressed. You have answered all parts of the question. If it's a discuss both views and give your opinion, you have discussed both views and given your opinion. If it's advantages and disadvantages, you have talked about the advantages and the disadvantages. Remember, if you only talk about the advantages and not the disadvantages, you wind up at a band score 5. Also, your main ideas are relevant. They're directly related to your opinion or your answer. However, you haven't actually developed them further, and because of that, you would stay at a 6. So a band score 6, make sure you answer all parts of the prompt, you state your position clearly. However, a band score 6 also doesn't necessarily support, well, they've given their answer, they've given main reasons, but they haven't actually gone and taken the next step that would allow them to get a 7. So, for example, you agree in your introduction, and then in each of your body paragraphs, you state why you agree. Here's the first reason I agree. And in your next body paragraph, here's the second reason I agree. Then you can get a 6. That's really all you need to do, right? Is global warming a problem? Yes, I agree. And in your first body paragraph, you say, the first reason it's a problem is because it's affecting all the wildlife. The second reason it's a problem is it's affecting all of humanity and where we live. These are great reasons. They're relevant to the prompt. They answer the question. They are worthy of a band score 6. But if you don't go beyond that, that's all you're going to get. Okay? Because you haven't actually developed these main ideas. So we have this example here. Let's say, obviously, online learning is increasing and it's great. So you think it's a positive trend. And you answer the question, you say, I think it's a positive trend because now, people can learn from wherever they want and it's really cheap. Now you need to tell me, to get a band score 7, why it's really cheap, how people learning wherever they want, why is this a positive thing, why is this a really good thing. You need to continue and develop this answer. And so that leads us to a band score 7. The main parts of the prompt, they're all addressed. You've answered the question. It's clear. You've now developed it. So the difference between a 6, a 7, an 8, and a 9 is literally the amount of development that you add to your answers. In order to get a 6, you've at least answered all parts of the prompt and you've given some reasons. To get a 7, you've given some reasons and then you've added some development of those reasons. You've answered the question, so what? Why is this important? To get a band score 8, even further development and more specific reasons, things of this nature. So in a band score 7, you support your answer, you give really good reasons. Maybe they're a little bit general. Maybe you can do a little bit of work on making it a little bit more specific and a little bit more related to your topic. Okay? So, in order to get a band score 8 or 9, all we need to do is continue developing and then making sure our supports become a little bit more specific. Again, I'm going to give you an example paragraph of a band score 7 where the supports and it's a little bit more generalized and not as specific as it could be. And that way you'll kind of understand this a little bit better. But if you're going for a 7, and a lot of students would just love a 7 in task achievement, one way you can make sure you do that is, of course, have a clear topic sentence, a clear main idea, a clear reason, band score 6. And then from there, tell me why this reason is important. Answer the question, so what? Why is this important? Why does this matter? Why am I telling you this? Provide some sort of relevant example that will help further support, and of course, make sure that it's relevant to your topic. Band score 8 and band score 9, I'll just leave these here. It just talks a little bit more about how developed this answer is. Again, just think of it as like building blocks. The more development you get, the higher your score can be, the more specific and ideal that your supports are. Again, we're not making up any statistics or anything like that, but the more specific they are, the higher your score can be. So let's take a look at some example paragraphs now. Let's pretend we have this question. Nowadays, many people argue that eating fast food is bad for your health. Although I love fast food, I'll be honest. It is bad, but I love it. Why is it so harmful, and what can governments do to solve this problem? So here would be an example of a band score 6 paragraph. Let's pretend we've answered all parts of this. Why is it harmful? And then in another paragraph, we've said what governments can do. And so because of that, we've gotten past a 5. But now we've given this paragraph. Firstly, fast food is harmful since it can easily cause people to become overweight. We have a direct reason to our answer. It's relevant. It answers the question. Boom, band score 6. But take a look at what follows. It is also very convenient to eat, so people can eat it whenever they don't have enough time to cook. Does this tell me why it causes people to become overweight? No. For example, a lot of people who work long hours at stressful jobs like to eat fast food since it's more convenient. Does this provide an example showing me how people become overweight eating fast food? No. As a result, fast food is bad for our health and should be avoided. So as you can see here, we have a direct and relevant reason, but nothing else that supports that, nothing else that is relevant to our topic sentence or to our reason that fast food makes people become overweight. In order to get that 7, we need to further develop. We need to say how. How does fast food cause people to become overweight? Let's take a look at our band score 7. Firstly, fast food is harmful since it can easily cause people to become overweight. Okay, great. Same as before, band score 6. This is because, we're about to answer why. We're about to add that development in there. This is because most fast food contains large amounts of bad nutrients, which can lead to obesity. In addition, even some healthier options contain too many calories and bad nutrients. For example, many people who watch their weight like to order salad at fast food restaurants. However, many of these items contain a lot of calories as well. Okay, we have a nice band score 7 paragraph here. We have a direct reason, which gives us a band score 6. We have now developed this reason, which allows us to get a band score 7. But, it's a little bit general. What kind of bad nutrients are we talking about? What kind of healthier options are we talking about? Could we give a little bit more detail? Could we be a little bit more specific in order to help us get to that band score 8? Could the example be a little bit more specific? Could we talk about a specific restaurant maybe? I don't know. Could we talk about specific menu items? Again, we don't have to make anything up. We just have to use our experience. So I think this would be a good example of a band score 7. Let's go ahead and take a look at a band score 8. Same as beginning as the first one. And then the second sentence, we're going to add a little bit more detail. This is because most fast food contains large amounts of sodium, fat, and sugar, which is one of the leading causes of obesity. In addition, even healthier options, such as wraps and salads, may be contributing to weight gain as well. How? For example, the salad dressings used in some of the healthier menu items sometimes contains the most calories. As a result, even those who think they are eating healthy food tend to be at risk. And here we have further developed, we've even added a little bit of a result here, and we've just really made our ideas a lot more specific. We've talked about the types of bad nutrients that are there. We've talked about specific menu items at these fast food restaurants that can lead to obesity, helping us get to that 8. And then finally, we have this option here. Band score 9. No, it's hard to get a band score 9. Even under pressure, I don't know many native speakers that might get a band score 9, to be honest with you. I think it's quite difficult. Firstly, fast food is harmful because it causes people to become overweight. Great. Because most fast food contains large amounts of sodium, trans fats, and dangerous amounts of sugar, which are some of the leading causes of obesity. Here we've just further developed this a little bit more. Trans fats, things like that. Healthier options such as wraps and salads. We've talked about that. Here we have a specific restaurant like McDonald's. In fact, if you look at the publicly available nutrition charts, you'll see that salad dressings are close to the top in terms of calorie count. Okay, so again, we're just further developing, further improving our supports and examples and how relevant they are and related to our topic. Okay, very good. So hopefully this gives you a really good idea of what we need to do as far as task achievement. And the goal here is, again, to make it a little bit more simplified for you and to just, at the end of the day, really understand that what you need to do, answer all parts of the question, give reasons that are relevant, band score 6, develop those reasons within the context of the question, band score 7. Anything above that, anything more specific, anything above that's going to start getting you up into an 8, into a 9. And this is how you're going to ensure that you are getting that higher band score in task achievement. Again, go back to the beginning of the video and think about the questions you can ask yourself to really make sure, am I addressing all parts of the question? Am I staying on topic? Am I consistent throughout? Have I made a plan? And if you do all of those things, then you should have a pretty good chance. Hopefully today was helpful. Please leave a comment if you'd like me to make a video about a different aspect. Of course, I'm going to try to cover them all. And then, of course, let me know if you have any questions as well. Enjoy the rest of your evening. Thank you so much. Bye-bye.